Now, the funeral of Shinzo Abe, of course, has been held with strong representation from Australia. Not a lot of recognition, though, from China. Joining me now is Will Glasgow, North Asia correspondent with The Australian. Thanks for your time. Interesting to note that Shinzo Abe, a huge figure in Japanese politics, and also a very crucial one in sort of realigning some Australian minds, if you like, on China.
Yeah, being a seminal figure in Japanese politics, but like you said, a lot more than that, a huge figure on the international stage and one who had tremendous influence in Canberra. Prime Minister Abe, when he returned for his second term in 2012, he led Japan's recasting of its relationship with China. From 2010, 2011, 2012, China became much more assertive in Japan. Now, 10 years on, we see that was a sort of an early sign of things to come, right? Japan went through that before many other countries, right? And Abe, when he took over power in 2012, at the time when Xi Jinping had just come to power in China, Abe was instrumental in standing up and finding a way for Japan to try to get China to take it more seriously, treat it with more respect. And a big part of that policy Abe came up with was working with other countries, other like-minded partners and other countries in the region. And one of the key ones Abe targeted, one was India, where he nurtured a very important relationship with Prime Minister Modi. And another one was Australia. And so, yesterday at the funeral, the state funeral, we saw an extraordinary delegation from Australia, Prime Minister John Howard, former Prime Minister John Howard, former Prime Ministers Abbott, Turnbull, and the current Prime Minister, Anthony Albanese. And I mean, it was really notable for, Prime Minister Modi from India was there as well. But that's a big thing for him to travel internationally. He's got a lot going on all the time in India. But that Australian delegation really spoke to the huge role Abe played in Australia's recasting of its own policy against China, following in many ways in the steps of Japan.
Yeah, and a nod to the resuscitation, if you like, of the Quad. The interesting local reaction, though, has been about the funeral itself, not just the cost of $18 million, but as well how much it's shone a light on both Shinzo Abe's links and his party's links to what's described as a sort of borderline cult religious group. Can you explain that to us?
Yeah, this group, the Unification Church, the guy who shot, the unemployed guy who killed Abe in July, assassinated him at a political rally. His sense of grievance, I mean, it's a bit complicated getting into the mind of someone who would do that. But one of the things he said or told police is he was bitter about his mother being bankrupted or losing a lot of money donating to the Unification Church, which she was a member of. It's a church that was founded in South Korea. It's got a big presence in Japan as well. It has links to the Liberal Democratic Party, the LDP, that Abe was the leader of, and then when he was killed, was a big factional player in. And Abe's faction did have links with that party, would seek political support from them, along with a lot of other parties, a lot of other groups in society. Those links have been reported on a lot in the months since Abe's murder. That's led to a strange build-up in hostile sentiment about the LDP that manifested itself with a lot of protests outside of or around Abe's state funeral yesterday. Yeah, so it's sort of strange, mixed. For that said, Tom, I mean, you also had, people lining up by their thousands to bring flowers, weeping to pay respects to Abe. So mixed sentiments there, but yeah.
Yeah, huge queues, and obviously a giant in Japanese politics and a tragic murder, assassination, as you point out. Hey, very quickly, we've got about 30 seconds. This wild theory that President Xi Jinping had been placed under house arrest in Beijing turned out to not be true. How did it even start? What was happening there?
Yeah, who knew? I got to say, Tom, I was a little bit sus when people got in touch with me over the weekend on this. This is a real illustration of how little we know about what goes on in elite politics. The rumour was spread by a dissident Chinese former journalist who's based in America, who said, according to his sources, that the People's Liberation Army had put Xi Jinping under house arrest when he came back from his first trip since COVID in Uzbekistan. Actually, he was just not in public eye for a couple of days. And today, or last night, pictures of him were beamed into Chinese television on the state broadcaster CCTV, out inspecting a new museum about the wonders of his first 10 years in office. So, no, he's not under house arrest. He just kept a low profile for a couple of days, perhaps quarantining, perhaps preparing for his big party meeting, but no coup, Tom.